Advantage. Welcome to this month's webinar sponsored by Vosik AI. Our topic this month is mastering subscription success using artificial intelligence and implementing AI to transform customer retention. We'll start off with introductions and we'll introduce our special guest today. My name is Brandon. I am the head of solution enablement here at Vosik. I've spent 20 plus years in recurring revenue, subscription-based businesses, and operations and customer experience roles. It was about 8 years ago that my path crossed with this company. We were a customer of Vosik AI, and I met our next panelist here, and we immediately hit it off. And I'll turn the time over. Well, we turn the time over to Vasu to introduce himself, and then we'll hear from our primary guest today. So Vasu, would you care to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Super excited about the webinar today. My name is Vasu Akula, and I lead our data science team. Absolutely excited about the webinar today because this is one of those success story webinars. You get to do that 6 months or 1 year after implementing the project, and it is always exciting when you have amazing results. I don't want to give any teasers. Let that come from Angela a little later today. But what I wanted to say before we kind of dive into the webinar is we're going to see some amazing results achieved by AMP. All of this was possible because of Angela's leadership in steering everyone, both within AMP and within Vosik, towards success. She's super clear about what she wanted to achieve, and she made all of this happen. Vosik, of course, can bring all this AI technology, but we all know ultimately this is how things are prioritized, how things are operationalized, and how the team comes together that ultimately decides the results, right? So Angela is a phenomenal leader. We are lucky to have her on the call to share her experiences as someone who has seen it, who has done it. So Angela, thank you very much for joining us. Super excited about the webinar. You want to say a few things about yourself, Angela?
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here today. And I agree with you, Vasu, that having an opportunity to share the results and the experience is one of the most fun things to be able to do and most exciting things in business. And again, not to steal any thunder from us for later, but we've got some good stuff to talk about today. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate Angela joining us today. Let me give a little more background about Vosik AI and our solution. Our solution helps companies, recurring revenue, subscription-based businesses, to be able to leverage artificial intelligence to be able to protect and grow subscription revenue. We have several use cases that our solution can address, including improving customer retention, helping with strategic price increases, improving sales effectiveness, selling more referrals and upsells, and also improving CX scores, whether it be Net Promoter Scores or CSAT scores. Recently, Gartner studies put together an analysis on large companies trying to incorporate artificial intelligence within their enterprises. And they found a pretty shocking result that a staggering 52% of companies found that their AI projects never made it into production. It's a very high failure rate. And we're going to talk today about how we can help mitigate that risk. When we look at from that same study, what were some of the reasons why companies failed going from a pilot into production? We see reasons such as figuring out how to put together that business use case and demonstrate the value of AI, the lack of talent and skills of how to implement AI within their existing tech stack, a lack of confidence in the technology aspect of AI, not clear on how to use their data, or just a lack of trust in what the results of artificial intelligence would be. So laying that as a foundation, I want to invite Angela to tell us a little bit more about the company that she comes from and some of the goals and challenges that they had when they first approached us about being partners.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you. So AmpSmart is in the top 10 of largest home security providers in the country. with more than 50,000 customers that we're providing security and home automation for. So we're a big player in the market. And the struggles that we were having, really it comes down to guessing, right? We needed to accurately predict why customers were canceling and who those customers were and what was driving those. And before Vosic, it was a guess. So those were the struggles. We needed to stabilize our attrition. It was not a good, we were not in a good place. Well, just putting it frank.
So in an effort to cut to the lead before we kind of get into the further discussion, I want to kind of fast forward the clock to show the results, because those that are here with us, we respect your time. We want you to see that there's probably some value in continuing to hear the rest of the discussion. So Angela, can you tell us about what the results were a year into the partnership?
Yep. Woo! I'm glad you guys are here because this is what you're here for. So unbelievable results is really what we were able to achieve. So reducing our attrition, not only stabilizing it, but reducing it by 17.5% within the first year of using Vosic. An unbelievable renewal rate of our entire base of 12% of those customers. So 12% of those customers in our base have been touched and renewed, and they're even more excited now to be part of AmpSmart than before. And I love it because Vasu really digs this number. It's amazing to have someone call to cancel, and after the conversation with our team, very skilled team, they leave with an average of 45 months added to their agreement. So unheard of results. So stay with us and you'll see how we did it.
Yeah. In fact, I wanted to, add, a few things, because I get to see these types of numbers by working with, many other subscription companies. I think what Angela mentioned is just, what pausing a little bit and kind of thinking about, what is that number? 45 months. Someone says, I want to cancel. And then 5 minutes later, what is that for? 36 months is 3 years, nearly 4 years. Let's just continue, working together for another 4 more years. That's literally taking a aged customer and creating almost like better than a brand new customer, right? That's phenomenal without even incurring any of the new customer acquisition cost and things like that, right? So 17% is impressive, Angela. I think 17% when you say, along with 45% of new contract added, that is just out of the world.
Yep. Yeah, we both definitely are doing backflips over these results.
Yeah. And I think, see, numbers like these, in my view, are possible because of the proactive nature. Let's, get into the, discussion a little later, right? Because, some of these customers are actually approached before, they call to cancel. And they were educated about, hey, by the way, as a loyal customer, we can, give you loyalty benefits of, rate changes and equipment changes because we were able to deeply understand. So I think it's the combination of the clarity on the goal, the technology, and it's just amazing when you put 45 months next to 17.5.
Yep.
Right. So this may sound like it's too good to be true. And so we'll kind of back up just a little bit to talk about how our solution works. So Vosic AI is a company that comes with a software as a service tool that gets incorporated within a company, but that is paired with our consulting services, where ultimately what happens is that a company that is looking for some direction on customer retention can have us come in as a partner, basically an extension of the org chart. And in our first 90 days, we're able to take all the different data sources that a company might have and to be able to start running some of our existing models on them to see what can be done. So I want to ask Angela, as you look and think back to the first 90 days as we came into the partnership, and at the end of that production trial, what was that experience like, and what did you think after those 90 days about what the plan was to move forward.
Yeah. Thank you. So after the first 90 days, I was so excited to keep moving forward, right? It was a no-brainer for us to keep going with what we had seen. And I think it's important to note that really the only thing that AMP had to do to get us going is provide the machines and the data. And then Vosic took it from there. They built the model, they analyzed the data, we talked through, what we were seeing. And so during those first 90 days, Vosic did all the work, really. And then as soon as we started to see what the results of all of that work and what we were seeing from that data, I was like, let's go, let's not stop. And we haven't, right? We've just been full speed. It's been an incredible experience.
From what you remember, particularly during those first 90 days, like how frequently were you meeting with the team? How much time did that take? And you're saying that it was pretty hands off from your team, which I know is true, but can you quantify how much time you felt like you were spending each week or each month during those first 90 days? And then how much time was your tech team, those that were releasing the data or putting together the exports of the data, how much time did that take off of their plate?
Yep. So relatively little time from us needed to go into it, because we would have scheduled meetings with agendas that helped us to utilize the time very quickly. Hey, let's get these 5 things done. And before the meeting, here's what I need. And so we were very prepared. And then at any time through, between weekly meetings or monthly meetings, depending on where we were in the process, we were able to reach out and say, hey, I'm having trouble with getting this, or, I don't have this particular data point that we wanted. Here's what I have. Or they could reach out to us and say, here's what we're seeing. And, it was back and forth with that, but still relatively little time, especially compared to, the time we were taking to try to figure things out on our own.
I think it's pretty common as we're approaching initial prospects that people are like, well, our data is really messy and we got data in lots of different places. And, this feels like it's going to take a lot of time. From what I'm hearing, and from what I recall, I think you guys expressed some of the similar concerns early on, but during those first 90 days, it was a lot less than what you expected. Is that fair to say?
Yep. I think in business, right, we always are trying to be the best we can be, and we're never at the place we want to be or have the data that we want to have, or even really understand the value of what we have today. And so, oh, hang on, I don't think I have this. But with this partnership, we could share what we have and talk through, and then we all were able to see the value of what we actually had, and then continue to modify and improve. So you're never going to be in a perfect place, right? Because that's just not how things work. But wherever we were right then, we were able to start. And then it was that just sincerely no-brainer. Let's go. Let's make this happen.
So at the end of those 90 days, you kind of seen some of the insights and kind of what we'd identified as some of the low-hanging fruits. As you went to then deploy and to have your agents starting to use this software as part of their everyday, phone calls that they were taking or making, what are some things you recall about what the tool brought to that process, and what are some things you did from those insights?
So the tool makes it so easy, right? So before we had the tool to be able to use, there was a lot of time spent before any interaction to try to understand the nuances of the specific account and try to see the history and have that individual agent bring their experience in, oh, what am I seeing, and interpret the information. And with the Vosic tool, it was presented right in front of the agent, and we didn't have to spend all of that time researching each individual account and try to understand the history. It was right there, and it was easy to use. It made things quicker. It made us smarter, right? Always a good thing. And it just simplified everything that we were doing.
Now, our software as a service is a little bit unique in that it is not running up in a central cloud. For each of our customers, we will deploy the solution onto your private cloud, and you have your own instance of our solution, which allows us to be able to really personalize our solution for what your needs are, depending upon your data and your operational needs. I know that as we deployed with AMP, there were some specific things that we tweaked to better accommodate your processes. What were some of those things, and how quickly do you recall those changes were able to be made?
It very quickly. So each month we would meet and we would talk through the previous month's results, and then we would talk about, okay, wow, we've already achieved this goal, or here's what we had hoped to achieve this last month. Dang, we did it. We're ready to move to the next thing. And so then we would have that list of here's what we're going to do next, and oh, by the way, we would like to do this. One of the key things that made a really big difference for my the manager of this team was being able to calculate and see the team dashboard and commissions, and let the team know and see their competition within the team right up to date at any minute for the day, so that they knew, hey, what have you done for me today? And the month, the roll up. So, hey, here's what I've done for this whole month. And so Vosic helped to get us a version of what we had been using that wasn't as great, and make it exactly what we needed. It was personalized for us. Our silly names and commission cowboys we tied in, and so that it really was everything that we needed and wanted, and it was personalized for us. And we could, on those calls or even mid-month, say, hey, I need this, or I thought this is what I wanted, but actually I need this lever tweaked just a bit, or I need to be able to see this just a bit differently. And it was that constant ability to be able to communicate with Vosic. It was just like Vasu and the team are AMP employees, right? Like, I'm going to the office right next door and, hey, partner with me on this, help me. It was great. Is great,
That's
was then
definitely
the
the
90
type
days.
of relationship we aspire to build with our clients. From your role as a retention leader within the organization, having this partner that came in and that was able to be an extension of your org chart when it comes to data science and machine learning, and also analyzing the data and suggesting, like, here's what we can do next. How did that change your role and your day-to-day work from using the solution?
Yep. So I would say, simply put, we went, and I was able to go from guessing what we should be doing and why, to knowing what we're doing and why, and for who, right? It was a very specific solution for each customer that we had, because of the modeling tool. And so, and then we had daily reports implemented that let us know, here's exactly what you did and who you did it for, so that we knew what was going on day to day. But you can get lost in those details. And so then we rolled all of that up and talked as a group each month to look at our month over month results. And that's also when we could talk through what we were doing in our next stages, right? Because it wouldn't just be an idea that, I guess it could have been an idea that came up on this month's meeting, and okay, that's what we're doing next month. We would constantly be talking about what we want from this whole system and how to make that happen. And okay, we're in early stages of this, or oh, we're ready to roll with this. This is this month's solution, and okay, this is going to take us a little longer, so let's work on this. But it was constantly being able to know what we wanted to do and why. And as Vasu had mentioned at the very beginning, I definitely knew what I wanted to do, right? And really what I needed to do, which was change the attrition that we were having, right? It was must to do, but I didn't know exactly how to do it. We've been, doing this for years, but we still weren't going in the direction that we needed and wanted to go. And so my work changed again, simple, but from guessing to knowing. And then we saw the results of that. It changed that attrition direction for us.
So if this is your first time learning about Vosik and our solution, guests here who are listening to the webinar, during those first 90 days, what our solution is doing is going in and assimilating all the different data streams that you have, looking for things that can indicate whether a customer might be at high risk for canceling, and leveraging the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning to be able to go through and sift through all those pieces of data and now predict in the future which customers that you have today are most likely to cancel, all the way down to least likely to cancel. And for those that are likely to cancel, say why we believe they're going to cancel and what can possibly be done to keep them from canceling. And in the case of AMP, that was reaching out to those customers and extending their contract with some very hyper targeted offers that would meet what that customer wanted. And part of what I think Angela's been describing is once you know who's high risk, trying to figure out what can we do to keep them. That's where a big part of the consulting comes in, is figuring out what makes sense, what works within this particular organization, what type of offers have you done in the past, how have those been responded to by customers. So talk through what was the experience for you of working through with our consultants in the Center of Excellence to operationalize what the predictive models were telling you.
So I think we've been hinting at this experience. It was very much a united mission, right? We knew what we wanted to do, and we all were working toward that. And the team at Vosik helped us to identify exactly how we wanted to do that, and gave us the tools necessary and the talents necessary to be able to make that happen. We knew what we wanted to do. We didn't know how, and we didn't know why we had the problems that we did. And the consultants at Vosik and the Center of Excellence allowed us to come together in that united mission and figure out step by step exactly how we were going to target this.
So let's walk through kind of the three major steps and how they worked at AMP.
All right. Yep. This is also, so other than the results, this is the exciting part. I think another one of the many exciting parts of this process. So 3 simple steps, right? Again, keeping it as simple as possible. I think with AI, at least I did, I thought, this is going to be difficult. I'm never going to understand this. How does it work? I can use AI to make a funny dance video or tell me a joke on my, automated desk assistant, but how can it help me with attrition, right? Like just outside of what my understanding was. And so I like the simple part of understanding this. And so it gave us the predictions, right? So the who should we be looking at, and it gave us the prescription. So what should we do? What specific targeted offers, and why are we doing that? And then the most important part is using all of that information to take action and actually make a difference for each and every one of these customers that we were able to retain. We made it really easy.
Nice. So looking at those 3 things, the who, the why, and the how. Tell us a little bit about the who.
Yep. So it exactly like you're seeing on the screen here, our entire database was analyzed with the model, right? So it's working in the background, and it scores every single customer based on all of the different available data, as well as data you didn't even think you had or that you would have access to. So there's so many data points that you've got, and it rates every single customer so that then you know exactly the customers that you need to invest the time and the dollars on, where every single dollar matters. This helped us to make sure that we were putting our money and our time in the right customers and at the right time, all of that. So told us exactly who. You can tell from that chart, right? Here's who you need to be working with. Makes it,
those ones on the right, and that makes a lot of sense, because oftentimes companies will get caught up in, well, we're going to have this special offer, but they throw that out to everyone, and now you've got customers who were already happy, but now they're taking advantage of some type of discounted offer or discounted equipment, where this allows you to hyper focus on customers who are going to cancel, and make sure you're offering something just to them, not to everybody.
Yep.
So getting to the second step of what is it you should now offer. You know who you need to offer to. Now, what should we offer? Tell us a bit about that stuff.
Yep. So this was constantly changing, right? Because it's not a one and done solution where you've analyzed your database and now here it is. Things are changing constantly with the interactions of the customers and the actions of those customers. And so this allowed us to very quickly identify on the screen, here's what the risk level is for this customer. Here's the proposed offer or offers that are most likely to benefit this customer based on what we know about them. And then it also includes the profitability of that particular offer. So all right here, just in one easy to read screen, you've got, here's what we need to do. And I didn't need to spend time analyzing the account or looking through, may I place you on hold while I take a look at a few things, right? It was right there. And so then that's where we were smarter and more efficient. And it helped the customers know that we cared, we knew them, we understood where they were coming from and what might benefit them, so that then we could take care of them in the best way possible.
Okay, so how does the rubber hit the road? Once you know who and you know what offers you want to give them, what was the step to figuring out how to operationalize that? Especially with 50,000 customers.
Yeah. So now, right, we knew who and we knew what, but if you do nothing with that, yikes, right? Nothing good. So this is the action. So make it happen. And so this is the screen that we were using, and it shows exactly the risk level, the offer, a view of the house even, right? So you really have an insight into that customer's account and everything that's going on. And so this is where our agents were able to be quicker, smarter, really dive right in, and then we could see the results of this because it was all input into the system, and then the model was constantly working and changing, and improving. And oh yes, so the action, A+ for action right here for sure.
So the who, the what, and the how that then resulted, if we back up, resulted in that 17.5% reduction in cancellation, 450 basis points reduction. For any of the finance people on the call, how that leveraged metric can impact your enterprise valuation, whether it's to free up free cash flow, whether it's to make the business look more attractive for potential acquisition. This is some significant in return on investment for this type of project. So I guess the final question I would offer to Angela, and then we'll wrap things up because we're getting close to time. What would be your advice to any of your peers, either in your industry or other industries that are subscription revenue based, that are considering the Vosik AI solution in order to achieve their goals?
Short and sweet. What do you have to lose, right? You've got 90 days to take a look and see what's going on with that. Don't worry about your data readiness, right? Don't have that fear. I'm not ready. My CRM doesn't have what I need, or I don't know what kind of data, because Bostic can help you see the gold mine of data that you have, no matter what that data is. And then they can help you with how to improve that. The model's continuing to improve, and the team is working with you constantly to improve and get better. So start, because you're better off in 90 days from now if we started, right away. So that's how I felt, and how I continue to feel. Just check it out.
Thank you, Angela. And to kind of cap onto that, if you're watching this, if this is something that you've thought about considering, if you've had on your strategic goals, one, pressure with attrition, that's something that you hate going into that next board meeting to have to report on attrition and where you're at, and you'd like that problem to go away, let's talk. If you had on your goal list, we've got to figure out a way to leverage AI. Everyone's talking about it. This is a way that will not only allow you to say, hey, we're using AI, but in a way that's not just cutting some costs here or there, but that can have some significant leveraged impact upon your enterprise valuation. Reducing attrition by 400 basis points will make every executive happy, will make the board happy, will make the investors happy. So we would love to talk to you. We're willing to do a growth strategy boot camp at no cost, where we'll come in, and the whole 90 days that Angela talked about, we'll do that on our dime and be able to show you what our solution can tell from your data and put together, here's what the next steps would be. And then at that point, when you're ready to move forward, we're ready to go right into production and be able to start capturing value. We appreciate the time to be able to share this with you today. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can email us at info@vosic.ai, or you can connect with myself, Brandon Savage, or Vasu Akula on LinkedIn. We're more than happy to answer your questions and to set up your company with a production trial of our solution. We know that our past clients have been very happy, and we'd love to have the same type of relationship with you and help you reduce your attrition and increase your overall enterprise valuation. So thanks very much for joining us today. Thank you to Angela for sharing her insights. We really appreciate your time. And thank you, Vasu, for helping us put this together.